Hi, Cindy. It's good to see you again. I think this is our fourth session now.
It's our fourth one, yeah.
Okay, so we've spoken a little bit about your family, about your job, and about your husband Bill dying.
Yeah. 3 months so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how was this week for you?
This week has been frustrating, stressful. I guess it was a little. Last week was a little better, but then this week has been hectic for me.
What's going on this week for you?
I remember, like in my previous sessions, like I've told you that I've never really done a lot of things by myself, including going out to eat, right? But this time I had no choice because at work everybody was just so busy. Usually I wait for somebody to go grab lunch with me, or even a friend to come and grab something with me, right? And I didn't bring food from home because I didn't do my groceries, so I really had to go out. And if I didn't eat, I would have fainted. And everybody was busy, so I had no choice but to go out and buy food on my own. And in that neighborhood, there's usually like really good restaurants, and I thought maybe I can do it. I can go sit there and eat a good meal, and then come back to work. So that's what I did. And I sat down and I ordered my meal, but I just couldn't complete it. I just couldn't sit there and eat my meal. Before the meal even came to me, it was just like I was just so conscious or wary of people like staring at me, like thinking that why is she's dressed professionally, like why is she sitting here eating by herself?
You felt like people were judging you because you were eating alone.
I felt very judged, for eating alone, for maybe the way I was dressed, because they were like, I felt like they were staring at me. Maybe my hair wasn't done right. Maybe my makeup was off, like maybe smudged. I don't know. But I just felt like I was being judged.
So it sounds like you felt like people looking at you, and then you had all these ideas about maybe what that could be, whether it was your hair or maybe it was the fact that you were by yourself, and then you had all these thoughts about what was happening with that.
Just all these questions just kept running through my mind that I don't even have an answer to.
Wow. So you just wanted to go and eat, and you didn't want to faint, and then you had this really hard experience at this restaurant, right? All you wanted to do was eat, and then you had all these thoughts and feelings, it sounds like, that came up. It must have been really hard.
It was very hard, so I ended up just packing my food up and going back to my office, and I'm just sitting at my desk eating.
Oh.
That was very stressful, and then after that, I just kept, I guess, reliving that moment. It's just like the constant thinking of it just frustrated me, and it's really stressed me out.
So it's like this self-consciousness that you felt at the restaurant kind of like sat on your shoulders, and it like that feeling of feeling super judged and not enough kind of stuck with you. And it sounded like maybe there were still some thoughts that were going on throughout the rest of the day that were kind of making that go on more a little bit. Like being stuck in that moment. What was it what were some of those like thoughts I heard it was feeling that maybe you thought your clothing wasn't right, or that you were alone.
Yeah.
Are there...
And also like, it's just just a fear of people looking at me differently. I don't like that. It's because in my head, it's just like, you have to look a certain way so that people look at you and go, oh my gosh, she looks perfect. Or that she's a person with a good job, a good background, a good family life. Like you can tell by looking at a person, like what kind of things, they do, or what kind of background that they come from. So I feel like I have this constant pressure in my head also to be that perfect person. Whether I'm teaching or anything. And even during the restaurant time, it was just like, what kind of person with a life this good goes to a good restaurant and sits there and eats alone?
Like self-conscious was telling you there's something not okay with you, there's something wrong with you because you're alone.
Pretty much. It's self-conscious, yes. It was my self-conscious then. that was like preventing me from enjoying what I wanted to do. Like I couldn't do that.
Mm. Wow, that's a hard experience. And it sounds like, and then were there other things that came up throughout the week that were difficult to deal with?
Majority of the time, other than that incident, it's just like you mentioned, self-conscious. That's exactly it. Like because I'm so self-conscious of everything that I do. So from the time I wake up, I do. As soon as I leave the house, it's just like I have this need or urge to be perfect because that's what my self-consciousness in my head or whatever it is telling me to be. Because it's like I just have this need to please people, as a way to put it. It's like I want them to look at me and go, Cindy, this is Cindy. She's perfect. She's a smart professor. She has an amazing family life. She's living a good life. There's nothing wrong with her.
I think just from the little bit I've spoken with you, it comes across to me that you're a very smart, put together person. I don't know.
You're very kind. Thank you.
Also true. Yeah. So I want to have an exercise with you because it sounds like self-consciousness is making you feel a little bit like you're not enough. He's making you feel like you have to be perfect. He's telling you what other people are thinking. So he sounds like he has a lot of power. He or she has a lot of power in your life. So I want to take a step back from self-consciousness and maybe we can kind of put self-consciousness on this chair over here just for a moment, just to kind of separate it so we can look at all the different ways that he has power in your life.
I get what you're trying to say, but just this self-consciousness thingy or whatever it is, it's been part of me as long as I can remember. And for me to just put it out there, like I'm not sure how to do that because I feel like it's inside me, inside my head. Right?
Yeah, so I mean, we have thoughts and we have feelings. We are not just our thoughts and feelings. So this voice is a voice, but he's not Cindy.
How do I separate that?
Okay, so we'll do that together. What if we did, I know sometimes also like, you're very active, you like to work out. What if we actually pulled him like out of your body? What if we just actually were just like we ripped, like we grabbed it, gripped it and ripped it and just put him on a chair. Just pulled it out because he's just a thing, just like this. There's a chair, just like there's a table. It's just a thing.
I guess we can do that.
Okay, so I'm gonna where does self-consciousness sit in your body? In your head. Okay. So I'm gonna reach to your head. You reach in because you're gonna pull him out too. You ready? You're gonna reach? Okay, 1, 2, 3. On the chair. Okay. He's on the chair.
Okay, I guess this can work.
Okay. What does he look like?
It's a he.
Okay, it's a he.
It's a, I wouldn't say he. Just this evil thing. Looking at me, telling me, even right now, it's just like, don't say anything stupid and embarrass yourself in front of Sarah.
He's a feisty one.
Very feisty, actually.
Really feisty. Also, like, really mean. He's kind of mean.
Horrible, actually. Not mean. The word mean does not describe him.
What does describe him?
Asshole.
Asshole. Okay. Yeah.
And you're just looking. Look, he's still trying to convince me. I can still hear his voice.
What is he saying?
In my head, he's still telling me.
Tell me what is he saying to you right now?
Don't be stupid. What kind of professor comes to therapy? Like you're useless. Obviously you're not smart. So if I go out like this, people are just gonna judge me and call me stupid.
He has a lot of opinions about you.
Yeah,
a lot of opinions about what other people are thinking and what you should be thinking.
basically, you're right, actually, because he pretty much dictates how I live my life. Tells me how I should be based on what others see me. So wants me to be what other people want me to be, not who I want to be. I should not give into it, but a lot of the times I can.
So where do you think he gets a lot of his power from?
My vulnerability, my loneliness, because like I mentioned, my husband passed away, right? Before that, like I was able to put out this persona that my life is perfect. My relationship with my son, like we don't really have any contact with each other at this point, but and I don't have a husband. So when I go out in the real world, it's just like this girl's life's not perfect. This woman's life's not perfect. She's just old. That's just a widow with nothing, right? Because I even when I'm doing my lectures, like he's always with me, right? He's like even right now, even if he's not sitting in front of me, he's inside my head, right? And he would tell me things like, look, that person's gonna look at you and think that your life is shitty. So get your act together. And even if I'm not happy, I have to look happy. I have to be this optimistic person. I have to be this positive person all the time. But I'm not. Because I have so much going on in my life that I can't even handle. Right.
I wanna say it's okay to be you. And it's okay to feel the things. I think a lot of what he's doing is saying it's not okay to be certain things or do certain things, right? I'm hearing that it's not okay. Like your relationship with your son that you've had, there's a little bit of distance there. It's like it's not okay. So it's when you're not feeling good about something in your own life, he's telling you it's not okay and there's something that you should be doing about it. When sometimes it just is. And he's making you think that there's something wrong with you when maybe the situation is just difficult. Like the situation with your son, like you told me, right? The daughter-in-law has kind of been keeping you apart. And that's not, that has nothing to do with you.
And even in that moment, he tells me, you gotta act like you're perfect so that she can accept me. So it's just this constant need to please people to let me into their lives so that they don't think I'm not good enough to be with them or good enough to be around them. And at this point I just feel so exposed because everybody knows that my husband's dead, right?
He's making you feel like it's not okay to feel your grief. He's with your husband.
That and everything else.
That's like devastating. That would make me feel really sad if someone was telling me, I couldn't feel what I was feeling or think what I was thinking, and I had to change that.
Yeah, it does make me feel like I'm not worth anything. That self-consciousness, him, it's an evil thing. He needs to go away.
So it sounds like he's talking to you at work. It sounds like he's talking to you when you're feeling sad about your husband. It sounds like, when you're talking about your son, he's also coming in and speaking to you then. Are there any other areas of your life that I've missed? Oh, and then sorry, you also mentioned when you're alone. Because it sounds like he has extra strength when you're alone because there's nobody there around. There's nobody there around you, and he's telling you that there must be a reason why that you're alone and that you're not enough. Is there any other areas where he kind of infiltrates?
Covered it all. It's just that during those times especially, I feel so powerless that it's just like I have to listen to what he's saying for me to go on with my life. Like I don't know how to run from him and in the opposite direction. I have my ideas. He overtakes. my thoughts. So
He's really powerful.
very powerful.
He's really powerful, and he's not nice either.
Not
He
nice
seems
at all.
he seems mean and evil.
Very evil.
Yeah.
It's just,
Okay.
he at least like I'm powerless. Like I don't know how to battle it so that my way of doing things, Cindy's can shine through. Because what I'm doing right now, not right now, but like in general, even right now maybe like I'm not mentioning a lot of I'm not being myself. I don't know, right? It's just but with you I feel that level of comfortness. I feel like even if you're sitting here telling me something, I'm still able to like you stay there. I'm talking to her right now.
So it sounds like he has a lot of power, but in this moment you're able to tell him to stay over here. So what?
Because he's not inside my head right now.
Okay.
So I feel like you made that easy for me to like say, it's just wait. I'm not even looking at you right now.
Well, you did the work. Like you put him there. Let's do that. Like you took him out and you put him there. Okay. So then, can you think of a time where he didn't have power?
This point right now, I feel like I'm overpowering him, even though he's telling me not to say a lot of dumb things, right? And that's very rare. And the only situation that I can recall that I felt so good about it too, as well. This was during the time my husband was alive. It was pretty recent because it was a year and a half ago ish. This was when I went shopping for one of this get together parties that I was gonna go with my husband, and I went with my friends, right? So I picked out this outfit that I really loved, and I tried it on, and my friends also recommended me this other outfit that was considered age appropriate. I'm 52, I get it. So I tried on both.
Sorry, it was 52.
I'm 52 years old. I'm on the older side. I get it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And my friends told me when I tried on both dresses, they were just like, you know what, this looks much nicer because it fits your age. But when I tried on the other dress, like this doesn't it didn't even make me feel like a woman. It just felt like I'm just wearing it because they are telling me it looks nice.
Mm-hmm.
But when I tried on the other dress, I actually felt beautiful. Right?
It must have been a really good moment.
It was
when you put on that dress.
I felt beautiful. After a long time, I actually felt like that. Right? And then he was there telling me, look, your friends are telling you, this looks good. That means this is the only thing that looks good on you.
Mm.
You're so old, you're not going to be wearing the other dress. Because the other one was like a bright red dress with a little bit of cleavage, and it was short. But I just really wanted it. He almost convinced me that day, actually. He was just like, you know what, you have grandkids, what the heck are you wearing? Right? My friends also sort of thought the same way, but I still chose what I chose initially and went with my decision.
So what stopped him in that moment?
It's when I looked at myself in the mirror, I saw Cindy. It was me. Like I felt like myself, right? And when I came home, my husband actually was very happy with my choice. He said I looked beautiful in it. So there was some kind of validation as well, right? So at that point, I felt like the only thing that mattered to me was my husband's opinion, nobody else's, right? Even though it was my opinion to begin with, but it also sounded nice when my husband said it was nice, right?
Yeah. Of course.
So it was just like, I guess what stopped me from listening to him was looking at myself straight up and looking at Cindy.
You saw and you knew.
I
You're
saw.
like, that's me.
That's me, yeah.
I got it. That's Cindy.
Yeah.
Wow. So this was a time when you saw yourself and you knew, and he had no power.
I wouldn't exactly say he had no power, but it was extremely reduced. He was still there. It's just my my thoughts had more strength than his voice at that point.
So knowing that you have the strength to put him in his place, how does that change how you think about yourself and self? How does that change how you think about your relationship with him?
To be honest, I never realized I had the power to even tell him to back off till you brought up this point, because I just looked at that as an incident where I felt pretty. But when you put it this way, it's just like I did tell him to like back off, like shut up, because I'm gonna listen to my thought first. Right? I guess I do have the power to do it. It's just I need to learn to do it. Right?
Let's just like brainstorm. Like, what are some other things that you like know about that you get the same feeling thinking about when you looked in that mirror and you said, you know, like, this is Cindy, like, I'm Cindy. What are some other things in your life that give you that feeling or that thought?
I am very passionate about my job. I'm very passionate, but like I said, because he is with me all the time, I have this urge to not make any mistakes at work when I'm teaching. Right? So I don't want to look like this dumb professor that doesn't know anything. Like, I feel like if I make one mistake, the students are just gonna label me as this professor that made mistakes, right?
Let's take a step back from that, because I hear that the first thing you bring up is you're a professor, and then he jumps right in, and then he's like, but don't make a mistake. But what about it is about being a professor that connects with you? What is that?
I love teaching.
You love teaching.
I've always wanted to be a teacher ever since I was young. I'm just very passionate about it, and what I'm teaching right now, it's the field that I chose for my career, because I really wanted to go into social work, and I'm sure you feel the same way because you mentioned that you did social work before.
What made you want to go into social work?
Working with people, you'll be surprised actually.
I'd imagine that you would be fantastic at that, just from having had these interactions with you.
But initially, I wanted to become a social work professor. You know, that's more teaching oriented, where I can, share my passion, show people, teach people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You could inspire other people to want to be in this other profession. Exactly. Okay. So can we say that? Would it be fair to say that Cindy is an inspiring professor? How's that?
Thank you.
How does that feel?
It feels amazing to hear that, because I haven't heard that in a while.
Okay. So Cindy's an amazing professor. Cindy's gorgeous, right? Because that's the red dress. Cindy's gorgeous. Cindy's an amazing professor. What other things do you like, Cindy?
When I listen to my music and walk around, I actually like to go for walks and listen to my music, but I haven't been able to do that because I'm so conscious of people looking at me.
Okay. What kind of music?
Pop music.
Any particular artists?
You might laugh, but the younger generation, I actually like Ariana Grande.
You're very cool. That is very cool. And I'm sure your students also appreciate you.
I share it during my lectures sometimes.
Yeah. Okay, so you're bopping out your walk and carry a grande. So that's also that's like a piece of Cindy that's very beautiful.
Thank you. I really appreciate you saying that.
So
it's just, I guess it's okay to be not perfect, right? Because I enjoy doing so much things. It's just he's an obstacle in my life. Like, I guess I have to admit that he's not really gonna go away. But I have power. I have power over him during a lot of situations. I just need to bring it out during almost every situation that he pops up in. Right.
Yeah, I think, and just the kind of the things that we mentioned, being a professor, like we'll get like you'll get there. You'll work on it. Like there's so many things in life. Like you did your PhD, you became a professor, you have a family, you have a son. I think you can definitely speak to self-consciousness and get that power back. I think what will help with that is just reminding yourself of how shiny and beautiful you are. Whether it's bopping along to Ariana Grande, like that's
a secret, okay?
Does not leave this room. I think that getting to know yourself a little bit more, which also, since your husband died, you mentioned that you're really invested in that relationship. So getting to know yourself, and we can continue to speak that out if you like, will really help you kind of find and celebrate who you are as a person, because you're an amazing person and you deserve to see that. And I think the more that we start to see that, it'll get easier to put him in his place.
We have to put him in his place. Absolutely.
Gotta put him in his place. Okay, what should you tell him? What do you want to tell him?
Shut up. And I need him to screw off. So screw off.
Okay.
I can say it out loud, actually.
Yeah.
I can say it out loud.
Yeah.
So I guess if he pops up into my head again, we can sort of try that.
Sure, that's a fantastic idea.
I can try. I don't know if it's gonna work, but I can try it out.
You know what? All you can do is try. All you can do is try, right? So what would make you feel more confident?
Tell him to shut up.
Telling him to shut up. You want to practice that now?
Shut up.
How did that feel?
Obviously, I'm the boss.
Yeah, you're the boss. That's right, you're the boss. You want to tell him again?
I'm the boss, so shut the fuck up.
Okay. Well said. What do you think that did to him, for your relationship with him?
He's quiet.
Okay.
He's not saying anything right now.
Okay.
I'm gonna continue to try this every time he pops up into my head. Why not every time? Maybe whenever I can, actually.
I was just thinking that might feel like a lot of pressure for him to do it every time. So I'm thinking, what if there were 3 instances? If you could do it 3 times before next week, how does that sound?
I'm seeing you again next week, so I guess that's doable.
Okay.
I'm gonna try, and then if it doesn't work, I'm gonna come back.
Okay. I think that you can. I want to pick a number that you feel that you can do, because
3 sounds with week. We have a week, and he pops into my head like 200 times a day. 3 times. I think I can do it. I can try to do it, actually.
So we have this piece of homework. I'm just wondering, you've told me that having this conversation with him helps you feel like helps you recognize the power that you have over him. That he doesn't have all the power. That it's a relationship and you can put him in his place. So I'm just wondering if you're foreseeing anything this week where you feel like he's going to be extra strong.
This is like midterm week, so maybe when I'm gonna go eat.
Okay.
But also when I'm home alone.
Okay.
Because I feel powerless when my husband's not there. So during those times, I'm gonna tell him to shut the heck up because I got work to do. I'm gonna do my own thing. I'm gonna listen to some Ariana Grande music.
That's a great solution. So pulling in something where you know how good you are and you know how shiny you are. So pulling in Ariana Grande, I think, is a great thing, and that can tell him to shut up. Yeah.
I'm gonna try.
You got this. You got this, Cindy.
Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Is there anything else that just before we finish? Is there anything else that's on your mind, or?
It's more clear than I came in here with. So I'm gonna try it, and I'm gonna see you again next week.
Okay. You got this. You got this.
Thank you.
Okay. Good to speak with you. Take care.